Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. And we are here for another episode of Squid Games. Let's just get into it. Episode 3, The Man with the Umbrella. So we know the last episode we ended off with people going back to the games. Because let's be real, if the show followed them in their regular lives, we call the show Mirror. Because majority of us are living a life where we owe money or we're not making enough money. So it'd be like watching ourselves, but scripted. But is it scripted if it's life? It's a fiction. Okay. So we began the episode with a police officer, Junho. Oh, I forgot about this in my last review. Junho is a cop. When he heard of Gi-hoon talking about the Squid Games and the one chief was not following or not listening, he just said, "You're crazy and you gotta go." Junho took it upon himself to investigate and ask the officer for more info on Gi-hoon, took Gi-hoon's information, and then he ran into Gi-hoon. I know, bad reviewing, but it's okay. You guys love me. He went to Gi-hoon's residence and in the rain and talked to Gi-hoon before Gi-hoon decided to replay the Squid Games and told him, "I believe you. Your truth is valid. Let me help." And then he said, "Sure," and then told him all the deeds and where to meet up. So when Gi-hoon left, Junho was actually in the dark following the van. So we start the next episode. Junho's following the van that's taking everyone. And then Pickpocketer, she also went back, and what she did was she held her breath. So, second time around, she held her breath, so when the smoke screen went about, she held her breath until it stopped and pretended to fake be asleep. And then, when the van was taking everyone to the games, the men in pink suits came in to scan the players. And it turns out they branded the players somehow, and you can scan them. So then they were scanning them, and then Junho pretended to be one of the knocked out people, so he went in the van. And he just but they were scanning him, and he was not registering. So then Junho just knocked the man out, and then took his clothes, gave the man Junho's clothes and his ID. I was like, genius. Genius. He switched the clothes, threw the man overboard, and God rest his soul, because he was eaten by the crabs. And he wore the pink suit and then continued scanning the people. And then that's when the pink suit was like, "Girl, what you doing?" And then he talked, and they said, "Girl, you breaking the rules. You don't talk to your superior, and you don't talk unless you're asked to talk." And I was like, that reminds me of childhood, back in elementary school, where they say don't talk unless you're talking to, but then, wow, that was such a militant upbringing. Looking back at it, school really trains you to go to the military. Nothing else, nothing more military. So now it's out there, and I know Junho was like, "Excuse me, mister, I'm gonna need you to stop." So then, that's when they got the rest of the players on, and then the pink suit told Junho, "Watch your mouth." And I was like, y'all all subordinates. So I was real confused, but I guess each shape was a difference. Remember that. So then they had the players, and they were finally awake, and then they got, as they were changing, turns out the pink suits changed the players into their games uniform. And Pickpocketer, she brought her knife with her. She said, "Not today." So she's so good at pickpocketing. So what she did is, as they tried to change her and they checked their pockets, she took the knife and slips it in the pink suit's side pocket. So then when they lean her forward, her hands will go like this. She just takes the knife back and then put it back in her pocket. I said, "Now, lady, you pickpocketing." Yourself. But that was cool. I actually like that scene. So then that's when they came back and people decided to team up, because the only way to make it out in the Squid Games is you got to team up to make it to the end. But lo and behold, there can only be one player. So someone's going to die. No, whatever. So then as we get to that scene, we find out that Junho is navigating his way as a triangle mask, pink suit, servant. And it appears that they are in prison as well, because once he found out where they were sleeping, it was literally a jail cell. They had the same aluminum style toilet, a mirror, and a sad bed. And once he went in, you're not supposed to... The fun fact is, I guess you're not supposed to take off your mask, because there's a rule to never take off your mask, and you only take it off at nighttime. Nighttime occurs when all the lights are out. So even the camera people can't even see who you are, because you're not supposed to reveal yourself. But Junho was just too comfortable, and that was like a little loophole, but whatever. He was too comfortable, and he took off his mask because he wanted to eat. But the funny thing was, the mask had a divider, so you could lift up, and your mouth will be revealed, and you can eat. But Junho, you gonna leave Junho alone. He thought he was alone. So he sits there, and they're under surveillance, and turns out there's a team of surveillance pink suits, and they're the ones who watch over the other pink suits. Like, there's levels to this. There's security surveillance pink suits. There's the murdering surveillance pink suits, and there's the pink suits that are pink suits. And then there's Junho, who's in a pink suit but don't know which kind of pink suit. And they also serve them like jail food. Like, the rice was cold. And they had like a little slit at the door, and they just served the food, and it was sad. But Junho was able to get his phone, and because there's no service there, he was able to like reserve his battery life, because I bet his phone's on airplane mode, and he was able to take photos of everything and record and type in his little diary what was going on. So then we get back to the people, to the games. And now we're going to call all the players by their numbers, because we never get their names. The only names we got were Gi-hoon, Junho, the cop, Ali, and Sang-woo. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So now we're going to talk about 67. 67 is Pickpocketer. Now, lady. She, and then 212. I don't like 212. I don't, like, I'm not trying to turn this into a rant. I don't like 212. 212 got on my nerve. She needed a pee. She made a whole scene banging on the window, yelling, hoop, hollering. They said, no, you pee when you pee, and you go when you go, when we let you. And she was like, well, I'm going to pee on this floor. And I was like, of course you would. Trash. She was just trash. So then, as soon as she was going to go pee, the guardian was like, okay, we can't have that. So we're going to let you pee. So then she went to go pee, and 67 said, I gotta go pee too. And then again, 212 was so annoying. She was so annoying. She was just like, oh no, you should have knew better. And just, we're gonna skip over that because they both let them pee. So what they did was, 212 was enjoying a cigarette. She just wanted a cigarette break. She hid a little capsule of cigarettes and a lighter in her puss. Took it out. And, you know, okay, cool. 67 said, hey, I'm going to go find out what's going on. So I'm going to check the vent, and you be on my lookout. 212 said, sure, cool. And if you find anything, let me know. She says, bet, we got this. And she says, sure. So then she went up in a vent, went across. I don't really see no point in this, because all she saw was them preparing food. Oh, she saw them preparing for the next game. I'm playing. They were preparing for the next game, and all they were doing was melting sugar. And she was confused. She was like... So then, that's when the guard says, okay, you guys gotta go. 212, strategic. She says, I am constipated, and I am backed up. I need to hurry. It needs to hurry up out my system. And she was yelling that in the vent. So basically telling 67, like, girl, get your ass back. Come back. And then she kept creating a distraction. And then she came back. I was so stressed, because then the guards broke the door. Like, they opened the door and they went into the stall. I was scared it was just going to be Buddy Girl, but they both were there. And I was so happy. I was so stressed. So that happened, and then they went to sleep, and then we started the next game. And the next game was a doggone sugar cookie. See? Sugar. So yeah, the next game was the doggone sugar cookie. And it turns out because when the people were eating, because they fed them, this one character was given a hint that it was a sugar cookie event. And he knew it was a sugar cookie event, but keep in mind, he didn't really pass the event. I want you guys, like, rewatch the scene. He was the first one that broke his cookie. But the thing was, because he had a hint in his little egg, it was like the sugar event, whatever. But I want you guys to remember, he broke it, and it was so quick how to cut it. He didn't finish or whatever because they were keeping him alive. The guards were breaking the rules for him. And in the game, they had to carve out a shape. And then the shape they will have to carve out will be in the cookies. It will be like a star, a circle, a triangle, or an umbrella. And to anyone who had an umbrella, good luck, because that was like really hard to carve out of the sugar cookie. And you know, if you break the cookie, you're eliminated. And we're going to use that term for the next, to explain how people were, you know, bye-bye in the game. Yeah, you get eliminated. So, but they were eliminated in the most personal way. Because the guards are walking around and they see your cookie break, they just, execution style. Very personal. Very uncomfortable. I was not here for it. I was really not here for it. So then as the timer goes down, you know, the usual players passed. And then we have Gi-hoon, because he had an umbrella. So then as he's trying to carve the umbrella, he's sweating and his sweat drops on the cookie. And he learned that it was melting the cookie. So if he flips the cookie on the back and like licks it wet, it'll make the lines even thinner. It'll make the lines even thinner to like cut out. And then so he kept licking it. As the time was going down, he kept licking it. Everyone just like, you know, passing, you know, the usual players were passing because they had easy shapes like circles, triangles, you know, and squares. And then Gi-hoon was trying. And then other people who were trying to get it done saw he did that too. So then they started licking it, and then they all passed. Even the old man. He saw Gi-hoon did it, so he started licking it. Everyone started licking it. Everyone passed. And then we see how 212... Miss Ratchet, with her lighter, her puss lighter, she used that to melt the little carver and then to burn through the cookies, and then she passed. And then she gave the lighter to 101 and told him to, you know, use it to burn through. So he did it. He passed. And then as we're, you know, we're down to the wire, Gi-hoon, he passed too because he was able to pull apart the shape out because he licked it where the lines even weakened or lightened, and he pulled it out. And then in the end, one of the players failed because he had the umbrella, but the bottom part was cracked. So then they were going to shoot him. So he used his little pin, stabs this pink guard, takes the gun, shoots him, and then takes another one, puts the gun to his head and says, "I'm blowing his brains out if y'all don't let me go." And then the guards were like, "Okay, he has one of our people. We're not going to kill him. What do we do?" And then that's when this player made the guard reveal himself, which he did. I don't know why he did that. And it turns out he was young. So the player felt guilty because he was like, "Why are you so, like, you're too young to be here. Like, how did you get caught up in this mess?" Because majority of people there are like in their 40s, you know, going through a crisis. So when he saw a young boy, he was like, "Oh no." So then he kills himself. Then, oh, I said it, but yeah, himself. And that's when the front man came with the black mask. And he said, one of the number one rules for the pink suits is don't reveal yourself. Took a gun, popped that boy. When I tell you I panicked, I said, what? So then he took the worker out. And then that's when everyone just like stood there. And then all the other people who did fail got up thinking they could just leave with the other players. And it was crazy because then the other pink suits turn around and they eliminated the rest of the people. It was sad. It was it was sad. Like, I'm really getting tired of these bloodsheds. I'm really getting tired of these bloodbaths. It's really getting annoying. But this game was very full of suspense. And I'm going to rate this episode a B. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of this episode. Because it was good. It was good. The title, The Man with the Umbrella. Gi-hoon, The Man with the Umbrella.